Long-range forecast. You're going to give us a lowdown for, what, the next 3 months?
Yes, we're looking at December, January, and February in this long-range forecast.
Okay.
Everybody anticipates that winter forecast.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's no big surprises here. Here's a look. Even back when the weather was like this, people in the inland Northwest were bracing themselves for weather like this. The long-range forecast for the upcoming winter has been the subject of intense interest ever since our back-to-back snowpocalypse winters. Even though those record-shattering snows are almost 5 years behind us, the memories haven't faded much and have left many of us dreading the approaching cold weather months. A refresher. The winter of 2008-2009 was the snowiest in Spokane history, when almost 98 inches of snow sacked the city. The previous year was our third snowiest winter, with almost 93 inches of snow. Those numbers compared to an average winter snowfall of only about 44 inches. No wonder Spokane residents were rattled. Those two winters had something else in common other than life-altering snows. They were both La Nina years. As the inland Northwest waits with snowless anticipation of what is to come, it will comfort some of you to know this is not a La Nina year. We are in our second consecutive winter of a neutral climate pattern, jokingly called La Nada. Long-range winter forecasts are most accurate during La Nina or El Nino episodes. This year, we have to rely on less predictable climate tools, which makes this winter outlook tricky. With little other than history as a guide, it is most likely that we will be in for an average winter. We'll have our snowstorms and cold spells, but the odds of a worst-case scenario, or the opposite, are unlikely. With that in mind, here is the official forecast from the Centers for Climate Prediction. We're looking at temperatures first, and average temperatures most likely. Actually, the wording they use is there is an equal chance of below or above average temperatures. Generally, there is nothing to indicate that we will see anything out of the ordinary temperature-wise. Now, there is this little area of below average temperatures on the other side of the Continental Divide, and one of the computer models shows that may be getting a little bit closer to the Washington-Canadian border, but most likely that's going to stay on the other side of the mountains, and we're going to be fairly status quo. Precipitation-wise, we're a little bit closer to an area where we're seeing average or above average precipitation. In fact, it does include our little corner of the northern Rockies. Most of that, however, is on the other side of the mountains, indicating most likely we're in for a winter with average precipitation. But again, in a winter where we are not in a La Nina or an El Nino pattern, El Nino pattern, we are very at a loss to hang our hats on anything. We have to wait for climate factors that show up in a 10-day cycle where you know only 10 days out to know if we're going to have any anomalies. So average winter is where my money is.
Yeah.
I'll put a sawbuck on average winter with a deviation of a degree or two or a couple inches of snow here and there.
Good to know. Now we can prepare. But looking back at the snow from those record years,
yes,
in your package, I almost forgot how bad it was. We were hammered, weren't we?
And I think that is why people tense when they think about winters now, because it's so fresh in our mind how bad it can be, or good, depending on your outlook.
Absolutely. All right, that was very interesting. Thanks a lot, Kris.